Hi, welcome to the Campus Election Engagement Project National Voter Registration and Being Nonpartisan Training. Welcome to the SEEP family. We are so excited to have you. Let's get started. By the end of this training, we hope that you will take away these learning outcomes: how to register voters in your state, how to create a brand and begin voting initiatives on your campus, what SEEP is and does, and what role your fellowship plays in our organization and the voter engagement movement as a whole. The Campus Election Engagement Project, or SEEP, helps colleges and universities use their institutional resources to get students involved in elections by getting them to register, volunteer, learn about candidates and issues, navigate voting laws, and turn out at the polls. The goal is to assure that students fully participate in democracy as voters, educators, and citizens while at school and throughout their lives. SEEP has a comprehensive roadmap we call 7 Key Ways to Engage Your Campus, which outlines a systematic approach to building campus and student involvement. With support and training from our SEEP state directors, SEEP Fellows take action using the 7 key ways and our other resources as guides. By this point, you should all have received an introductory training on SEEP from your state directors. This should have covered what SEEP is, the fellowship commitment, and the paperwork it involves. This is one of 3 national trainings that you will receive on your topic of choice. As a SEEP Fellow, your job is to enable and encourage all students on your campus to exercise their right to vote, to make their opinions count, and to participate in our democracy. To do this, you should build momentum and commitment through person-to-person conversations, educational and motivational events, information sharing, and getting people to the polls. SEEP will provide you with useful resources and successful case studies to assure your success and help you have fun while engaging your campus. Before we look at what the voter registration form looks like and logistics, it's important to start with knowing who a voter is. In order to participate in an election in the United States, regardless of what state you live in, you must be a citizen and you must be 18 years old on Election Day. So what does that mean? It means that if you are 17 years old prior to your state's registration deadline, but will be 18 on Election Day, you can register to vote. Many first-time voters do not know they must register in advance before they can vote. Students are often confused as to whether they should register and vote at their campus or at their home address. Registration processes and procedures vary by state. Your state director will go through a training with you on your state's election laws and guidelines. Pay close attention to this information as it is your job to become an expert on these laws. By the end of your training, you should know the following: critical dates and deadlines for in-person registration, what your state laws are about online voter registration, what, if any, identification is needed to take with you to the polls, and whether your campus identification meets the state law criteria. Check in with your state director and/or relevant government agencies to learn about other rules and resources, forms and registration dates. Find out about any known local issues or voting challenges specific to your voter area. Determine early on how you plan to distribute your registration information. Will you use a direct link to your Secretary of State's website? Does your campus use Rock the Vote or TurboVote, or will you consider using QR codes? Be sure to check regularly the election information you get with your Secretary of State's website or your state director. Sometimes the election laws in your state can change depending on the legislation in the state legislature, decisions being made by the courts, or external events. That's why it's important for you to stay up to date on any pressing issues, close races, or changes in election law in your state. Registration can be done using a paper form or online in some states. It is important to know that each state has their own voter registration laws, so be mindful of where students are trying to register. For example, if a student is going to school in Pennsylvania but is an Ohio resident and wishes to vote in Ohio, they would need to use an Ohio registration form and follow Ohio registration rules. For all registration purposes, it is critical that you double and triple check the location the form should be mailed to. Local forms can be dropped off to your Board of Elections. Your fellow students may be unsure if they should use their home or campus address on their voter registration forms. It is important to let them know they can register to vote using either address. Voter registration should be updated every time a person moves. Students choosing to register to vote with their home address may be required to vote absentee or vote by mail if it is available in their state. Stress to these students that their registration dates, deadlines, and candidates may be different than the on-campus voter information that is being provided. If more guidance is needed to help students on which address to use, contact your state director. Students choosing to register to vote with their campus address can vote in person during the academic year. They must register to vote with their physical address. This is important to keep in mind for students living in residence halls who may have post office boxes to receive mail. When holding voter registration events for residence halls, it is helpful to have a list of physical addresses, as they would be recognized by the Board of Elections. Students may also need confirmation information like letters from the president or chancellor, or a zero balance utility bill issued by the school. It's critical to know the specific rules for your state or campus, so you can confidently and accurately assist students to fill out the registration forms. Once you learn the rules, you'll need to create a system to disseminate this information. You should also learn about relevant voter ID rules, so students can get the ID they need to satisfy them well in advance of Election Day. Also, make sure that students who live off campus understand that their polling site may be different from the ones used for on-campus students. While each state has their own specific registration form, the federal government also has a form that can be used. U.S. citizens can register or update voter information, but it is important to follow the state-specific instructions listed for the state you're registering in. Again, for all registration purposes, it is critical that you double and triple check the location the form should be mailed to. Local forms can be dropped off to your city or county election authority. Depending on current elections, these may need to be dropped off by a specific time and date. SEEP, and most likely your school, have a nonprofit or 501c3 tax status. Because of this status, SEEP and its representatives may not support or oppose any particular candidate or political party. Though nonpartisanship means refraining from endorsing or campaigning on behalf of a party or candidate, nonprofits can do advocacy work and can facilitate participation in elections. For a list of approved third-party partners and allies, please visit our website at campuselect.org. Beyond legal requirements, because SEEP works institutionally with partner schools, we have to make a particular effort to encourage the participation of everyone on campus, whatever their beliefs. Here's a brief list of some of the things that being nonpartisan looks like. Register people to vote, no matter who they are. Educate voters about how, when, and where to vote. Provide nonpartisan voter guides and sample ballots. Host or recommend attending candidate forums. Invite candidates to attend events. And get out the vote. Now here's a few things that being nonpartisan does not look like. It does not look like endorsing a candidate, registering people to vote, or not registering people to vote based on their political affiliation. It doesn't look like telling someone whom to vote for, rating parties or candidates, or giving any sort of preferred access to resources to any party, candidate, or group. Throughout the semester, you may want to hold an event in which some candidates talk about their positions and issues. This is a great way to learn about the people who are running for office and the things they care about. However, you must have candidates from both major parties present in order to maintain your nonpartisanship. Third parties and independent candidates are encouraged, but not required. Fellows will be provided with an engagement plan template to plan all their activities throughout the semester. The plan includes sections for each of the 4 or more activities you will be required to hold, as well as a section to plan your overall institutional project. You will be required to complete this engagement plan at the beginning of the semester, submit it to your state director, and use it throughout the semester to track your progress. Before creating a plan, first check with your campus advisor to make sure a plan is not already in motion. Your campus advisor is the gatekeeper to important campus plans and should always be consulted before taking action. Review your engagement plan regularly. Once a plan is made, create a timeline for the tasks, tactics, and strategies leading to the ultimate goal. Check back in with your team to report on successes and discuss what isn't working, adapting the plan as necessary. You can find some sample engagement plans in the Fellows Google Drive and in your handbook. When starting your engagement plan, think about your goals for your voter engagement semester. What do you want to accomplish on your campus? Keep in mind that while goals can achieve one or more objectives, they should always be observable and measurable, and have a fixed time frame. Because of the nature of voter engagement work, your time frame is up until Election Day, if it's an election semester. There may also be other days you want to include in your engagement plan, such as National Voter Registration Day or Vote Early Day. These are the specific milestones that must be reached to achieve your goals. Make them smarter. S, specific in what you hope to accomplish. M, measurable. Decide what measures you'll use to assess how well you've accomplished them. For example, how many voters do you hope to register? How many volunteers will you need to achieve this goal? A, attainable. Make sure your goals are attainable and you have all the tools and resources to reach that goal. R, relevant. The goal should align with the overall SEEP mission and be relevant to your requirements as a fellow. T, time-bound. Timing should be appropriate to the size of your action. When your timeline is realistic, you'll be motivated to finish your task without being overwhelmed. E, evaluate your plan often. Measuring your impact will help your project live well beyond your fellowship and hopefully continue to educate and inform your online community. And R, reward yourself and your team for all the hard work you've done. Voter engagement is a marathon, not a sprint, so you must celebrate the small successes throughout the semester. In voter engagement, the amount you can accomplish relies heavily on the relationships you build on campus and how you utilize them. That's why building a team before you start organizing for the semester is so important. The first step in building a team is to figure out who's on your side. That is to say, who on your campus shares your goals of voter engagement and increasing the student voter turnout? Some schools have more allies than others to work with, but nearly all campuses will have at least one of the organizations listed here that you can reach out to for support. Many schools have clubs related to politics or voter engagement. Some even have a dedicated engagement office. This is a great place to start. If your school doesn't have a civic engagement office, you could start by reaching out to your political science department. Chances are there's a professor or two who wants to see a higher percentage of students voting who would be willing to help you. If you haven't found much luck on your campus, you can also go to your local government officials, like your Secretary of State office or the county clerk, to get started. The list is endless, and you might be surprised by all of the different organizations who want to see more students voting. We also recommend that you reach out to any of SEEP's partner organizations on your campus or in your community. Here are a few examples of our partners, but for a full list and description of each organization, head to our website. As a SEEP Fellow, your success relies on establishing and maintaining working relationships with as many campus contacts and organizations as possible. It is impossible to engage a campus alone. You will want to recruit a core group of student volunteers, administrators, faculty, and staff to coordinate campus election engagement efforts. Divide up the work and ensure that key stakeholders talk with each other and share in the effort. Your state director and campus advisor can help you think through how to recruit volunteers. Now that you've established a team, created your engagement plan, and mapped out your voter engagement semester, you're ready to start organizing. For any event ideas, virtual or on the ground, feel free to check out your handbook or talk to your state director. We also hope that you'll get creative with some fun ideas to engage your campus. Keep in mind that your state director and campus advisor are here to help you if you encounter any roadblocks in your planning process. So please reach out to them for guidance throughout the semester. The next part of getting started is to start building your online brand through a social media campaign. We're going to walk you through canvassing all the social media campaigns that may already exist at your school, creating your calendar, and other tips and tricks to help you along the way. The first thing you should do when trying to navigate the virtual spaces you have is to take a brief audit to see what's already out there. It's easier to start with a campaign that already exists than to build up the followers with a new campaign. Some places to check are your Secretary of State's website, past fellows, the Civic Engagement Office on campus, or the Political Science Department. Maybe your school already has a campaign that you can join, or maybe you'll have to create a new one from scratch. Our communications team has created a new calendar to help you create your social media campaign. It has a complete calendar of all the important voting-related days for you to base your social media posts around. It even has media and captions at the ready for you to plug into your campaign. This tool can be found in the Social Media Toolkit within the Fellows Google Drive. If you do not have access to this drive, please talk to your state director. The last thing we want to talk about is how to measure your success throughout the semester. As you're creating your social media campaign and planning and implementing your events, it's important to measure the impact that you're having on your campus. We at SEEP have several tools to help you do that, in particular, the Activity Tracker. The Activity Tracker is an important piece of your fellowship. All activities must be recorded here. Numbers are important, so you can monitor your progress, and so SEEP can report the cumulative impact of your work nationwide. Your SEEP State Director will help you work with the Activity Tracker, which will be easy if you consistently document your events, contacts, attendance, outreach, and so on, and report them as they happen. Build these measures right into your action plan and revise. The Activity Tracker will be your one-stop shop for recording all of the hours you put toward this fellowship. We expect you to complete a new entry into the Activity Tracker every time you complete an engagement event, as well as every time you have a major event in your institutional project work. For example, if you have a big meeting to propose your institutional project to campus administration, you'd count that meeting as an event, and you would enter the hours you spent preparing for it and the hours you spent in the meeting. Ideas for activities can be found in your fellowship handbook or on the STEEP website. To access the activity tracker, please visit our website, campusselect.org, and in the top right-hand corner of the page, just to the left of the search bar, you will find a button that says Activity Tracker. Click it. It will take you to a page where each state will have their own unique tracker. Select your state, find your name, and enter your activity. If you have questions, please ask your state director. Our time reporting is based on the honor system. We trust that you will accurately report the amount of time you're spending on each activity. We ask that you fill out the activity tracker so that we can continue to measure the success of the program and make improvements. If you have any questions or concerns about how to complete the activity tracker, please talk to your state director. Questions? Thank you all for joining us. Be sure to check out and follow us on social media or join our Slack channel for conversations and idea sharing with our fellows all across the U.S. And once again, welcome to SEEP.